I have long been fascinated with the process of visiting the Las Vegas Strip and visiting every casino. And although I like to think there is a rich subculture of people who also enjoy doing this, I'm fairly prepared for this video to be of interest to 3 people and not garner the millions of views that I hope it does. I think every time I've ever visited Vegas, I've basically tried to do every casino. But the first time I tried to do this with intent was last October. I started at Mandalay Bay, walked all the way up the west side of the Strip, got to the STRAT, crossed over, went to Sahara, walked all the way down to MGM Grand. And apparently, according to my phone, that took about 55,000 steps. I asked Claude, ChatGPT and Gemini how many miles 55,000 steps was, and they all agreed it was 26 miles. I actually don't feel it was 26 miles. It did take basically the whole day, and it was reasonably tiring to do. Much as I'm sort of interested in the process of starting at one point, going up and coming down the other side, well, after I did that, I thought to myself, there has to be a more efficient way to do this. The Strip is only 4.5 miles long, right? So if you've managed to walk 26 miles doing what ostensibly can only be a 9-mile journey, something has gone wrong. And I think some of the problem is that you have to kind of meander through these casino properties so much, it's turning what should be a straight up and down into kind of like wiggling around the fjords of Norway, right? So in this video, that could easily be a blog post, but nobody does blog posts these days, least of all me. I'm going to present to you what I feel is the optimum route for walking all of the Strip casinos. Although I'm recording this in early 2026, we're going to mention Hard Rock. That will then mean this video has got a bit more shelf life. And we're also not going to call it Cromwell, we're going to call it Vanderpump, because although that hasn't exactly transitioned at the time of recording this video, it is transitioning over to its new name. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So for our general enjoyment today, we're going to be using the Las Vegas monorail map, which for some reason is the best map of the Strip ever in existence. And actually, if the Las Vegas monorail closed down, I think that city would lose, would be a really good map of the Strip. It's reasonably telling that there aren't any good maps of the Strip. Now I'm going to present this as going north to south, mainly because that psychologically feels better. It feels like we're going downhill as opposed to going from Mandalay Bay and up. So we're going to start at the STRAT. A lot of people think the STRAT is not a Strip casino and is technically an off-Strip casino. I actually could believe in that. I think there's enough logic to the fact that it's a little bit too far north. It also is not in the same city as the rest of the Strip. So the Strip is actually all in a city called Paradise, Nevada, not Las Vegas, Nevada. The STRAT is actually in the city of Las Vegas, which I think is enough to mean that it's not a Strip casino. But from my personal view, the STRAT was the very first casino that I ever set foot in. So for me, it's perhaps the most important Strip casino. So we're going to start there. If you don't want to start the STRAT, if you're going to be like, nope, I'm not up for it, the STRAT is absolutely not a Strip casino, we can start at Sahara. It's up to you. Like, STRAT to Sahara is only a few thousand steps. So we're going to go from the STRAT, we're going to go to Sahara. At this side of the road, dead easy, we just go from Sahara to Fontainebleau, or Fontainebleau, or however you want to pronounce it. I personally think it should be called Fontainebleau, but I also appreciate that doesn't make you sound as cool as you might otherwise sound. Once we have finished at Fontainebleau, we're going to come straight out the doors and we're going to cross the street to Circus Circus. We're then going to consider what a jarring difference in style that actually is. But anyway, we're going to do Circus Circus. You can then do Slots of Fun. Whether you want to include Slots of Fun as a separate casino, part of Circus Circus, is up to you. But regardless, the properties are next to each other, right? So it's not particularly difficult. Once we've done Circus Circus, we're just going to walk a little bit south, same side of the street. We're going to go to Resorts World. 2 entrances to Resort World. There is a tiny entrance on the north side and a bigger entrance at the south side. They both enter that kind of shopping and restaurant-y kind of area there. But regardless, whichever one, well, I mean, obviously, if you're coming from Circus Circus, going to the north one, and then going to Resorts World. This is part of it actually, is being able to use the correct doors to get in and out and to actually make this trip a lot more efficient. One of the tricks that you can do is use your phone, and that will do a pretty good job of kind of knowing where north and south is, and so you can kind of zero the phone up on which direction the Strip is in, and then, or Las Vegas Boulevard I should say at this point, and you can just follow that out. That will help you a lot in terms of getting mixed up. After we've done Resorts World, we're going to cross more or less straight over diagonally the street, and we're going to go into Encore. Again, Encore is a little bit fiddly to get into. So Encore first, and then there is obviously a connection straight through Encore into Wynn. And getting out of Wynn is again relatively difficult. You need to kind of, I think, use your smartphone to kind of work out and get your bearings on where Las Vegas Boulevard is, because you can really get turned around. So once we've done Wynn and Encore, we've then got to decide what are we going to do about TI and Hard Rock, which is on the other side of the road, versus Palazzo and Leisure, which are on that side of the road. So I would suggest what you actually want to do is come out of Wynn, go into Palazzo, do Venetian, and then come out of Venetian, and then go over to TI, Treasure Island, and then do Hard Rock when that's open. If you get all the way down to the other end of Venetian and come out, you have to walk quite a long way back to get to TI. So again, try and target where you are coming out of Venetian so you've got less backtracking to do to get over to TI. That's the first bit where we have to we end up getting a bit tied up in the direction. Yeah, I'm glad I checked that, because I often get a bit tripped up by that. So once you come out of what is going to be Hard Rock, the next one to do is to go and do Casino Royale. Again, if you class Casino Royale as a strip casino, I think it's sort of fair to say that you're only going to count the ones that have got table games, live table games, and Casino Royale doesn't. Circus Circus still does. I think Slots of Fun also still does. Once you've done Casino Royale, the next ones to do are the 4 in a block, which are Harrahs, LINQ, Flamingo, and Vanderpump. They're all effectively one property. I mean, there's some large tribal casinos in the States where you could actually fit all 4 of those properties into one of those resorts, right? Thinking like Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun, you could just go bloop, bloop, and drop those 2 in. So what you want to do is you want to knock off all of those and then get to Vanderpump. Don't do what I did the first time I did this and go from Vanderpump / Cromwell over to Horseshoe, because that's going to mess you up when it comes to Caesar's Palace. So what you want to do is come out of Cromwell. When you come out of Vanderpump, there is actually an escalator that will take you directly over to Caesar's Palace on the correct block. So come out of Vanderpump, over Caesar's Palace, do Caesar's Palace, come out, and then there is a link from Caesar's Palace over to Bellagio. Once you're over at Bellagio, you then have, sort of isn't really much of a decision, but this is where it gets a bit confused, because the MGM Caesars properties are on are opposite each other from this point on the strip. Once you've done Bellagio, come out of Bellagio, cross the street again and do Horseshoe. So you can either do that by going in through, I can never remember what the name of that kind of collection with Bottled Blonde and those restaurants and shops out the front is. I think it's a bit easier to walk down the side of Horseshoe and go in the lower level rather than going in the up and then down and then down. But that is up to you. Once you're in Horseshoe, however, there is then a link way through to Paris. You then got something of a decision to make when you come out of Paris. So Cosmopolitan, Aria, Park MGM and New York are all kind of connected together. But then what you kind of need to decide what you're going to do about Planet Hollywood. And I think there's 2 ways to do this. You can either come out of Paris and go to Planet Hollywood and then go up diagonally to Cosmopolitan, or you can cross over, do Cosmopolitan, do Planet Hollywood, and then jump over to Aria. I think Aria is kind of really difficult to get to because it makes you meander through this big shopping mall. It feels very disconnected. I think I would be inclined to do Paris, Planet Hollywood, Cosmopolitan, Aria through to Park MGM. There's an internal connection, so you can do that. And then from Park MGM, it's very easy to get over to New York. Once you've done New York, go up a level, and then come out. So by the Hershey shop, go up a level by there, cross the Sky Bridge that way, isn't it? Sorry, no, because we're on that side. Yeah, cross the Sky Bridge over to MGM Grand, do MGM Grand, and then come back across the Sky Bridge to New York, then go down, round and up and over to Excalibur, and from then you haven't really got any options because there isn't anything. The Bally's isn't built yet on the Tropicana site. So in a world where that Bally's has been built on the Tropicana site, if you're at MGM Grand, you just want to cross over the street and then go to Bally's and then cross over the street and go to Excalibur. I'll probably do this video again before that's actually built. New York, MGM Grand, back to New York, and then it's easy. It's Excalibur, Luxor, Mandalay Bay. That's it. This video is probably only 15 minutes long at this point, once I've edited it down. Yeah, so last time I did more or less this route. I got a little bit tied up. I did, Yeah, so last time I did this, I did 35,633 steps, which as I understand it, is closer to 16 miles rather than 26 miles. So that's a huge difference just by kind of dotting around. And even saying it out loud, it doesn't feel like it's a particularly difficult thing to do. The only way I need to really optimize this and actually work it out is really that weird interconnect between Cosmpolitan and Aria. I think everything else I'm really happy with on this. This video has been brought to you by the new Tangiers. It's very difficult to tip your dealer when visiting us It's very difficult to tip your dealer when visiting us here in the new Tangiers, and tipping your dealer is important. You could, for example, leave a like. You could also subscribe and ring the bell. But either way, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.